to thank you all for your comments on my videos. Your comments do more than just encourage me, they also help me learn how to make these videos better. And that's the case with the Ford Cam Synchronizer. After reading all of your comments, I can see some confusion that needs to be cleared up. Now I'm going to tell you something that you won't read in the service manual. Unless you read closely in between the lines, and then you'll see it. Here it is. As long as your engine has number 1 at top dead center when you stab the synchronizer, it really doesn't matter where you stab it. The reference to 15 degrees is simply so that the wire harness on the position sensor, which mounts on top, is pointing in a place where there won't be any stress on the wires. There's no need to use a protractor or any other method to try and stab it exactly at 15 degrees. Now let me explain. When the engine is put together, the crankshaft and the camshafts are mechanically timed together. They're held in place with the timing chain. So as long as the timing chain is intact, the relationship between the cams and the cranks will never change. The crankshaft has a missing tooth on the pulse ring that is picked up by the crank sensor that reports to the computer and is used for referencing number 1 and for RPM. Now the camshaft has teeth on it, but as you can see, there's no missing teeth, nothing to index. The synchronizer has teeth on the end of it as well, and as you can see, there are no missing teeth on it either, nothing to index. The camshaft is down inside the block. Then you insert the synchronizer and the teeth just simply mesh up. They line up exactly and it's a direct correlation. Every time the camshaft rotates, so does the synchronizer. The camshaft makes 2 revolutions for every 1 revolution of the crankshaft, one for the compression stroke and one for the exhaust. It really doesn't matter which one is on, because the synchronizer that has the sensor in it will create a sine wave that is the same for every revolution. It's just repetitive, and it doesn't matter which stroke it's on. It's just a continuous sine wave with no interruptions or identifying marks. Now the service manual states that the timing is not adjustable. So what's all this reference to 15 degrees about? Now back in the days of distributors, we had timing marks and specs. The crank and the cam were all held in place the same with the timing chain. We would rotate the engine to top dead center, and then we would stab the distributor with the rotor pointing at the number 1 spark plug. Now if we weren't really close or close enough, we could actually rotate the distributor until our timing marks lined up to be right on spec. So we've got this degree, 10 degrees embedded in our thinking. But now that the engines are electronically controlled, there's no need for timing marks. The crankshaft and camshaft are all still held in place with the timing chain. As long as we're at top dead center on number 1, when we stab this synchronizer, as long as we're using the alignment tool, which keeps the interrupter in the correct position when we stab it, our 15 degrees simply pertains to the position of the sensor on top. So now with the synchronizer stabbed and the engines at top dead center, every time that crankshaft rotates, so is the cam synchronizer. And it's going to interrupt the signal and make a sine wave that is simply repetitive over and over again. So the critical point is that the engine be at number 1 top dead center, and then you stab the synchronizer as long as the tool is in place and pointing around 15 degrees. It doesn't matter where you stab it. The 15 degrees is simply so that when you take the tool off and put your position sensor on, the connector for the position sensor will be aimed at the right place so that when you plug it in, there'll be no stress on the harness or the wires. So if you read between the lines, the service manual does not tell us where to stab the synchronizer exactly, because it really doesn't matter. What does matter is that the engine be at top dead center and you use the alignment tool on the synchronizer. I hope this clears this up. Thanks again for your comments, and keep them coming.